So this is a quick video I am generating to try and help give students advice on writing effective prompts with AI, particularly for developing practice exam type questions. And at the very outset, I want to give you two quick disclaimers. The first is I'm not an expert in AI or in AI prompting. I'm reading, trying things, learning right along with you. If there are useful things in this video, that's great, but you may have to try some other things as well to figure out what works. The other disclaimer is that there really are lots of important considerations when using AI, and what's acceptable in one context may not be acceptable in another. In a particular college setting, if you're uncertain about if or how AI may be used in an assignment or in class, you should ask the professor for clarification. Totally reasonable. And it's also important to know that it's never acceptable to upload someone else's information. That would include things like name, address, social security number, but also stuff like a phone number, pictures, emails, texts, etc. So I'm going to start at the beginning and quickly show you how to access one particular platform that we have at Geneseo. If you go to my.geneseo.edu and search for Copilot, you'll see this link pop up. I like Copilot because it allows you to incorporate lots of different documents and keeps all those in a repository that you can access. The other thing is that because it's a college-linked account, there are guardrails on how the information is used and with whom it's shared. So I would advise you to go there, although certainly there are lots of other platforms that you might explore and they can be really useful. So we're going to log in. Okay, and it will take me to this platform. So you're aware Microsoft is the major investor in OpenAI, and the underlying architecture in Copilot is the same as ChatGPT. Okay, you can see it says GPT-5 up here. I think the first thing to do is try sort of just a simple prompt. And again, I'm thinking here about developing practice exam questions. So you might type something like, I don't know, use the attached practice exam to develop a new set of multiple choice exams. I can click the plus. I can upload an image and a file. You're going to have to go find that practice exam. You can download it. As I mentioned in class, I'm always A-OK with you uploading these things into AI and using them to generate questions, and then we can hit return. Okay. This will think, and away it goes. Okay, it's starting to generate some questions. Da 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 da. I'm not going to go all the way through them. I've done this a handful of times, and so I'm actually going to switch back here to PowerPoint and try and give you some comments on these. Okay. So I think what you'll see is that some of the questions are good. This is one that I liked. A light bulb uses energy at 60 joules per second. How much energy is used in 1 hour? It's a dimensional analysis. You're going to have to use multiple steps, and you could imagine calculating that. Some of the questions seem very simple or derivative. They have basically the same question, but different numbers. Okay, this was an example. You're simply calculating, the mass of, what is it, nitrogen in air. You'll also often see that some of the questions seem totally unrelated. This was an example. It looks like sort of a percentage question, but actually it's about concentration. And you might be able to solve this one, but you'd have to actually know something about concentration in order to get it right. And that's really beyond the scope of what we had in this first practice exam. And so as you're processing all of this, I would encourage you to do a couple things. One of them is to really think about what you're trying to do. If you're trying to practice particular problem types that are difficult for you, when you have examples of repeat problems, those can actually be really, really useful. And if you get in that situation, I would encourage you to think about asking AI to explain its logic and ask AI to generate similar problems. Okay. If possible, give as many specific examples of question type or topics that are difficult for you. And so this was an example. When I gave it that prompt, it spit out a question where you're going to use logarithms to solve for some unknown variable. And you might imagine prompting it saying, I have a hard time with number 9. Explain the correct answer in step-by-step fashion. Then generate 10 similar examples of increasing difficulty. The problem should incorporate log and natural log, as well as 10 to the and e to the problems. So here you can see I've tried to give specific examples of things that are difficult for you. And you can go through and AI really does an excellent job of stepping through it. So it will give you a step-by-step solution. It's going to tell you to exponentiate both sides using base E, and away you go. The other thing when thinking about what you're trying to do, really concerns more practice problems. So I think sometimes what students want is to know, what are other types of questions that might be asked, or what else would these look like? The practice tests aren't comprehensive. And so if you're trying to figure out things that might be on the test, these out-of-the-box questions can actually be useful for you, right? This is when AI is generating new ideas. And in this sense, I think giving AI a little bit more direction is helpful. So people often talk about 4 dimensions of good prompts: task, what you want it to do; context; voice; and format. And the most important one here is context, I think. So I wrote an example where you might revise your prompt, right? So instead of just saying, can you make an alternate exam, say you are a college chemistry professor preparing an exam for an introductory chemistry course. The learning outcomes for the relevant chapters are copied below, and a practice exam is attached. Generate 25 multiple choice questions that are similar in topic, format, and style to the practice exam, but also that incorporate concepts from the learning outcomes. The question should be new and original. Increase in difficulty so that only 10% of the class may get the hardest questions correct. And the last 10 questions should incorporate multiple concepts and require multiple steps to solve. Giving it this kind of advice spits out other questions, and I don't have examples of them, but you'll see that some of them are good and will really push your thinking. And providing this kind of detail and context can really help generate other useful types of question types. Some other quick strategies. So if you want to give more context to solving the problem, you could think about uploading more information. So you're a college professor preparing an introductory chemistry exam. Daily worksheets with example problems for the relevant chapters are attached. Use these to develop a set of 25 new and original multiple choice exam questions. Again, here you're giving it more context with the worksheets, and you're trying to guide it to generate new and original questions based on these. Another strategy which I found really interesting is sometimes called meta prompting. Meta means next to or adjacent. It's not a Facebook reference. And so what you're trying to do is kind of prime the pump here and get AI thinking in general. So you might start your prompting with some context. You're a college chemistry professor preparing an introductory chemistry exam. The relevant chapters are titled Math Review and Science and Measurement. Review open source chemistry texts related to these topics and generate a list of the 10 most important learning outcomes for each chapter. It will go through and do this. Okay. And once it's done it, you can say, use these learning outcomes to develop a set of 25 new and original multiple choice exam questions. The last 10 questions should incorporate multiple concepts and require multiple steps to solve. This can be really helpful in getting it to sort of sample the space of what might be in other chemistry texts and math review and science and measurement and help you generate some good example problems. Closing thought, this has been the most helpful thing for me. Most often when you're using AI, the goal is not to have it generate an answer. Sometimes it's useful for that. AI will likely replace search, right? And when you have a specific question, it can be useful. But in this context, what we're really trying to do is engage AI in a conversation that hopefully helps refine and expand your thinking. So it's that process of iteration, and developing new prompts, right? That's going to be really useful to you. So I hope this helps. I have a little exercise for you to do in class that we'll explore, and we will go from there. All right. Good luck and have fun playing around.